Okay, so first part of my favorite 2020 books. What? My favorite books read in 2020. So let's start with the first, I think probably the first 4 or 5. So number 10 and 9, I have Gone Girl and Sharp Objects, and you're sitting on them. So here we have Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn and Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. So these two are in 10 and 9. I don't know which order, so I'm just going to leave it like that. It doesn't really matter. I enjoyed both novels quite a lot. I read them very quickly. That is to say, I think I finished them in 3 days, both of them, or 4 days. And I think it was a good balance between a good plot and just character development. I love a villain that is a woman. I love that, and I love the fact that both of them were very deeply disturbed and problematic. And I thought that Gone Girl was had a social commentary, quite potent social commentary, and that means what I mean by that is it talks a lot about relationships and just different things about relationships, the hypocrisy, which is the place of a woman. That's kind of boring, but it's really not at the end of the day. That I think that description of the cool girl, it's fantastic. I really love it, and I do think that exists. And what else about Sharp Objects? I think I probably liked that one more, just because I think it's less extreme. I mean, it's really actually very extreme as well, but I don't know, I enjoyed that better. I think it was because I did not watch the series before reading the book, so that is just good for, narrative purposes. And Gone Girl, even though I fucking love the movie, I think it's one of the best movies ever made. I already knew the whole thing when I read it, and I usually don't care. But the thing is that with this movie or story, it's just completely different to read it when you know what's going to happen, and when you read it if you don't know what's going to happen. Either way, I enjoyed both things very much. I think it had like quite good moments and quotes and just lines in general that were fucking good. So that's 10 and 9. Number 8, How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. I read way more nonfiction than fiction, that's one thing. And this is about psychedelic trips that he took. He is a journalist, a very well-known journalist, and he decided one day to research about psychedelics. So he took LSD, DMT, the one of the toad, which is the description that he made was fucking crazy. Like, I don't know. And the fourth one was what? LSD, DMT, mushrooms. So there is a lot of history, but it also reads like it's a report, like an anecdotal report. So I just found it very well written, very interesting. A lot of history things, like we can read about, what was the name? Tom Lehrer, is that his name? well, all the controversies around him, and all of that. And I think it's very, very interesting. You will learn a lot, and just let's tackle it. Okay, so the main point is just that psychedelics have something to offer to society. It's just not recreational necessarily, and nowadays, luckily, we have more and more investigation, research, and that are done on this types of drugs, to use them in different ways. Not only like physiologically, but I mean, what am I saying? What I mean is that it's being researched on the effects they have on mental illnesses that sometimes are, I mean, let's face it, different from just a regular illnesses, right? Because mental illness has aspects of it that are psychological, and there is like a cycle there. And so yeah, well, also death, all of that. So good read. That was number 8. Number 7, what is it? Wait a second. Born to Run. I don't remember the name of the author. Michael something, maybe, I don't know. But again, nonfiction, anecdotal about the Tarahumara tribe, about marathons and ultra marathons, about our desire or tendency to run as human beings, and connection with you know, nature and all of that, but more than that, I think like physical connection with our own body by these means. And it's very anecdotal, and I loved it. Very informative. It was the first time that I read about so many things, like, for example, that it's good for you, that it's bad for you to use like so comfy shoes to run. That's actually not necessarily good for you when you run like marathons. And these people, this tribe, for example, they run with sandals that they make, and some of them even run with bare feet. And I thought it was well written, it was entertaining, there was a lot of thinking behind it. What do I mean by that? It's like an opinion piece as well. But yeah, it reads kind of sometimes like a fiction as well, in the sense that it's anecdotal, it's well written. So that's 7. And then the last one that I'm going to talk right now is Afrodita Desenmascarada by Maria Blanco. This is a beautiful book by this Spanish professor. She teaches economics, history of economics, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. No, it's not history, I don't remember exactly, but she's an economist. And this is it is a, how can I say this? This is a exposition of the possibility and the necessity of a liberal or libertarian feminism. So she basically says, why do we let the left take this term feminism if originally feminism was liberal, in the sense that it had all the libertarian values at its core, right? And she exposes all of this, and there are very interesting chapters, like, for example, the one about capitalism, how it helped women more than anything else, abortion, prostitution, or how do you call that, like sexual workers and stuff. And she's a very, very good writer, and I love Spanish people, the way they talk. So So yes, here, for example, she also talked about how the, how do you say that, sindicatos, syndic, I know this word, but I don't remember. So they were the first one to oppose the feminine work, and they talk about how at the beginning left politicians, even women, were kind of against women's votes because they thought, and they were kind of right, I mean they had a point, that women would vote conservative, so they patronized them. But you know, liberalism, the liberal values are about you do whatever the fuck you want and you do whatever you think it's correct. It's not about one political thing. So yes, it's very interesting. I loved it. Here it says, the protection of the woman thanks to the gender politics is based on the premise that we are incapable. The word inequity refers to the unjust, how do you say, inequality, but refer to the natural justice, not to the positive law. Okay, so yeah, great fucking read. So that's it.